You are listening to One Happy Podcast, episode 98-B. So today, I'm hanging out at Eagle Beach doing a podcast on location from Aruba, and I'm going to be talking about day 2 of the trip. So if you missed the first part of this trip report, episode 98A, go back and listen to that. And it was all about arrival day. But we're going to pick this up where that one left off. So that one left off with us pretty much exhausted after eating dinner at that Peruvian spot. So we're going to pick up on Monday morning. So Monday morning was filled with just busy work. I mean, we had to run errands, being that we rent a house instead of a timeshare. There's a little bit more that goes into that as far as going grocery shopping and picking things up. We hadn't done that on arrival day, which is what we normally do, but since we arrived so late, we decided to just push that off for the next day, which was Monday. So Monday morning we got up and I had to go grocery shopping. I had to get my Digicel hotspot reactivated. And we also had to go to the Do It Center because the wear and tear on the chairs at the house where we stay is just to a point where we felt that it'd be best to just purchase 2 new ones. And we'll leave them at the house for, whoever wants to use them. Figured it'd be a nice little gift because we have definitely gotten good use out of the ones that she provides. So if you hear all that wind in the background, that's Eagle Beach. I mean, it's wide and it's open. The wind is whipping through, but I mean, that's what you want here in Aruba because it keeps the temperatures manageable. Honestly, it's a perfect day out here. Minimal clouds in the sky. Temperature's probably about 86 and the breeze is just perfect. The water feels great. I just got out of the water, actually, and whenever I'm done recording this episode, I'm going to hop right back in. But for a second, I'm just going to let you guys listen to the sound of the ocean and listen to the wind. Man, I could listen to that all day. That's one of those sounds that you don't get tired of. It's like the sound of a slot machine hitting a jackpot or babies giggling. Like, you just don't get tired of those sounds. And I put this right up there with those. Although the jackpot thing would be really cool, especially if it was you actually winning the jackpot. So the first stop was going to be Digicel because I thought that they opened at 8 a.m., but it turns out that they didn't. So instead we decided to head over to the Do It Center. So we went to the Do It Center, and they don't have a large selection of beach chairs, but we found a couple that we like. They're heavy duty. They're the collapsible ones. They sit up high. I like them. They're like camping chairs. They sit up pretty high. They're not low like the regular beach chairs, but they have a carrying case, and they have a cup holder in each armrest, which is exactly what I was looking to replace. I think these are a little bit more heavy duty than those ones were, so hopefully it gets, a couple of years out of them. They weren't that expensive. Total, well, they came out to about $40 a piece. And they were the most expensive options there. They had a couple cheaper ones. I was torn between these heavy-duty ones and then the next model down, which had a mesh bottom, which I thought would be cool because when you come up with a wet bathing suit and you sit down, you don't really want that water to pool in the bottom. So with the mesh, it would allow it to drain much easier through it, but they weren't as heavy-duty, so we decided to go with the heavier ones. The perfect chair, I guess, would be have the heavy-duty supports like this one has, but have the mesh bottom like the other model had, but that was not available, so I figured I'd just go for the best option for my situation. And since these won't be put in the storage, they'll be left at the house. We'll only use them, a few times out of the year. So hopefully they stand up for at least a couple of trips. Oh, something weird happened at the Do It Center. So I went to pay for my stuff. I went to use my credit card, and she asked me for an ID. Now, I used to always carry my ID with me, but no one had in probably 5 years has ever asked to see my ID. So I had just been leaving it in the safe at the house. But since she asked me and I didn't have it on me, I had to go back to the house to get my ID. So now I've been carrying it ever since then. And of course, no one's no one's asked me for it, but at least for the foreseeable future, I'll continue to carry my ID with me because that was the Do It Center, and it was early in the morning, so it was one thing to be able to just go right back to the house and pick it up. But there could have been a different circumstance where it wouldn't have been that easy to do. Like, say I was down at Baby Beach or something at a restaurant, and they asked me for my ID. What am I going to do then, you know? Sure, I could leave somebody at the restaurant and go back and get it, but, I mean, you're talking about probably an hour round trip, so who wants to deal with that headache? So, yeah, I mean, that's just a heads up that there's a possibility that someone, even though they don't usually, someone will ask you for an ID. So don't be like me, be smart. So after the Do It Center, we headed on over to Superfoods. Now, normally we go to Ling's, but this time, especially since Digicel's right by Superfood, we figured we'd go over there and check out what they have. I had been there before, but I never did like a full grocery trip there. So this is my first time really like going through the store, and the store is awesome. I mean, it's really clean, huge selection. The bakery items look fantastic, and also the section where they have the marinated meats and things like that for you to just throw on the grill, that was phenomenal. Those two things that might have over Ling's, I still prefer Ling's, to be perfectly honest, but I definitely see what people like in Superfood. One thing I didn't like, incoming rant here, one thing that I don't like about Superfood, and please don't take this the wrong way, but the people that shop there seem to have no grocery store etiquette. I mean, back home things are so, and people get on my nerves back home. I mean, I hate grocery shopping. People get on my nerves, but everyone seems to know what they're doing. I mean, the traffic moves in one direction. For the most part, people tend to stay, to one side of the lane or the other. But man, here in Aruba, it seems like at Superfood, people were just coming from both directions, parking right in the middle of the aisle, just blocking things and not caring that you need to get past. It was absolutely ridiculous. It can happen anywhere, but I haven't experienced that at Ling's. I'm not sure if Superfood is always that way or if I was just there on a day where all the self-centered people decided they were going to shop, but that is what I experienced. Oh, one thing that was cool is the people I on the plane, Maggie and her daughter, they sat in like row 37A and B, and I sat in row 36A, so we had the window seats, one in front of the other. So I sat by myself, but the two people sitting next to me, they were a married couple, and I ended up running into them at Superfood. So that was kind of cool. I mean, it's a small island, but still, what are the chances of you running into somebody who you happen to just share a little bit of airplane time with? Actually, no. It's, now that I mentioned it, that's 2 trips in a row where that's happened. The difference being, I actually connected with the people on the previous trip and knew where they were staying. I knew they were staying on Palm Beach, so I knew where to look for them at. Whereas these people were just completely random that we ended up at the same place at the same time. One of those happy little coincidences that happen on Aruba. I didn't do a lot of shopping at Superfood. We picked up like bread, lunch meats, cheeses, some snack foods, Balashi Chill, case of that, and some other drinks, just stuff to have around the house. Picked up some water, a couple of bottles of water. We get the big Fiji bottles. I think they're like 1 liter bottles. We get the 6-pack of them, and we'll use 3 for ice blocks, and we just refill the other ones. I know some people probably have feelings about that, but we're the only ones drinking out of it, so we don't care. And it works out good because the 3 ice blocks, they got a big cooler. I just got a new one from Amazon. It's a collapsible cooler. It packs flat, but it also has hinges in the sides that snap into place to make it rigid. So whenever you carry it, it feels really sturdy. It keeps cool really well. It has a built-in bottle opener on the bag, which can come in handy because I think it was last trip, I lost my bottle opener. So I had to figure out inventive ways to open up beer bottles. And I probably contributed to the wear and tear on those old beach chairs. I found a way to use the hinges on the beach chairs to open up a beer bottle. Necessity is the mother of invention, and that was a definite necessity for that trip. But it no longer will be the case because this cool little bag that I have has the built-in bottle opener. It's really easy to use, and it looks really sturdy, like it'll last a very long time. The bag is huge. The last one I had was a little bit too small for our likings. We couldn't fit the large Fiji bottles in it, so I decided to step up to a much larger size this time. And so far, it's working out great. So then, after we finished shopping, I still had to wait for Digicel to open. I wasn't expecting them to open on time, but kudos to them because they actually opened up at 10 o'clock exactly. And I had my digital hotspot that I had already recharged and everything. I had to get it activated. The process was simple. I bought the 5 gigabyte plan, which was $35. The 10 gig plan is $50. And I can't remember what the next one is. Maybe 20 for $75. But I figured since there are so many free hotspot locations around the island, and also the home that we stay in has a really good internet connection, actually, that 5 would be enough. So that's what I went with. The process was just that I stepped to the counter, told her I wanted to reactivate it. She rang me up and told me that she had to send an email to get it activated and to not turn it on for 2 hours. So that was at 10 o'clock, so at noon I would be able to use it. And after I left, that process only took about 5 minutes, honestly, 10 max. After I left Digicel, we decided to head up to Arashi Beach. So we went up to Arashi and hung out for the day, and sure enough, at noon, I was able to actually use the Wi-Fi. I just turned it on to test it to see if it would work, and then I put it away and went to enjoy Arashi Beach, and it was incredible day at Arashi. It was empty when we got there, which was strange considering it was so late in the day. I mean, we didn't get there until 10:30, probably maybe 11 o'clock. But it was pretty empty. There were a few locals there. Throughout the day, it did fill up a little bit more, but for a solid probably two hours, we had it almost to ourselves. And then it got slightly crowded, but then around 4 o'clock, it emptied out again. So we had just an incredible stretch of sand to ourselves. Played in the water a lot. That's my favorite thing to do, is just hang out in the water and float. Also take beach naps. Took a couple of those. I am a world-class beach napper. If anybody wants to challenge me, I'm ready to take you on. Oh, I forgot. Before we went to Arashi, we actually went over to Eduardo's on Palm Beach. We stopped past there to pick up some acai bowls, which are a favorite of mine. I'm not sure if you ever had one, but in the bottom it's got this acai puree. I'm not really sure what the acai powder is mixed with, but it's absolutely delicious and it's nice and cold. And then on top of that, you have like granola and all sorts of different fruits. The fruits will vary, so you'll notice whenever you go to Eduardo's at different times, they'll have different combinations of fruits. This one had oranges, mangoes, grapes, pineapple, of course. Always has pineapple. We had coconut shavings on them. There were some apples in there, probably a couple of other things. They were absolutely fresh and amazing. So if you've not had an acai bowl, do yourself a favor and have one. They're not inexpensive. I mean, for a breakfast item, that's not really going to fill you up or anything. They're $10 a pop for the large ones. They also have smaller ones for $7, but I like to eat, so I opt for the large ones. So we'll probably go back there again a couple of times this trip. And I urge you all, if you've not had one, go ahead and give it a shot. Or maybe a bowl's not your thing, or maybe the acai is not your thing. They also have patea bowls and a bunch of other different types of bowls that are, from what I hear, equally good. I always opt for the acai, or I'll go with a smoothie. And another option is getting a smoothie from there and then going over to Scott's Brats for a breakfast sandwich. Their breakfast sandwiches are excellent there. So I think that's what I'll do next time is I'll get myself a purple rain smoothie and a croissant sausage, egg, and cheese sandwich. It's a great combination. So, yeah, I mean, we spent the day at Arashi. We stayed there relatively late. I think we ended up leaving maybe 5:30 or so. Yeah, probably about 5:30. We went back to a place to get showered up, and we were going to head right out to dinner, but decided to just, listen to music, drink some wine. So that was a cool fun time that we had. Hung out there for a lot longer than we had anticipated. So some of the places that were options for us to eat ended up closing. So what we did was, we had narrowed it down to two places. We're either going to go to Pika's Corner for dinner or Chihuahua's Mexican Grill for dinner. But the thing is, by the time we got over to Pika's, it was going to be closing relatively shortly. We got over there probably about 8:30, and it was going to close at 9:30. If it was going to stay open until 10, we probably would have ate there. But instead, we decided to head on over to Chihuahua's, which was cool. It's over by Hooters. If you don't know where it's at, you go kind of past there, and it's over by Cafe Rembrandt. So Chihuahuas has been open for a while, probably a few years now. The first time we ever went there, it was on like the second or third night it was ever open. They didn't even have their credit card transaction capability set up yet on that night. But they've come a long way since then. The thing is, for some reason, it seems they've changed ownership a couple of times. These guys seem to be brand new at it. They're really nice. The place wasn't full or anything. It wasn't empty, but it wasn't full. There were probably about 3 tables inside taken up and maybe 2 more outside. We opted to eat inside. I always opt to eat inside. I know some people feel that, hey, when you're in Aruba, you want to eat outside, but I'm just an inside kind of guy. So we started out by ordering some margaritas. They had 2 different sizes, the larges and the smalls. $7.50 and $15. So they were pretty good. Had a lot of alcohol in it. So you definitely get some bang for your buck there. So it depends on what you want. The large ones are fairly large. So know what you're getting into ahead of time. The food there, well, they bring you out chips, and you can order guac with it. The guac was really good. It comes with, even if you don't order guac or anything, you get the chips and you get a mild and you get a spicy, a hotter salsa with it. It's not their hottest salsa. I've had their hottest before, and it's like fire, liquid fire. But it's all really good. The guac is actually excellent. So we ordered ceviche for an appetizer. They didn't have fish ceviche. They only had shrimp ceviche. And I was convinced going into that the Peruvian place we had eaten the night before was the best ceviche on the island, which I had an unseating Chihuahua ceviche. But now that I had the Chihuahua's shrimp ceviche, I think the title goes back to them. So right now they're at the top of my ceviche power rankings. So I don't know if you're a fan of it, but if you are, make sure that you give Chihuahuas a try. I definitely put it up against any that we've had on the island, and that includes Chihuahuas, the Peruvian place, Acai Peru, or whatever it was called, the Pelican's Pear, Bugaloo, and a couple other places. But I definitely put Chihuahuas at the top of the list, at least for now. But I will continue that search. And if you're a ceviche fan, let me know what your favorite is, because I'd be interested to hear that. And then for entrees, we ordered 3 completely different things. I wasn't allowed to order fish tacos, which is what I normally get there. So I ordered something that ended up being a seasoned and fried chicken breast, which was huge, with rice and guacamole on the side. And it was really good. It was pretty filling, which is always a big thing for me because I like to eat a lot. It takes a lot to fill up this belly, but they did not disappoint. And Maggie and Jesse both got chicken enchiladas of different types. One was green salsa, chicken enchilada, and the other one was like green peppers or something like that. Chicken enchilada, and they both enjoyed their meals. I think I ordered the perfect thing for me, and it seems like they ordered the perfect things for them. Everything was seasoned really well. It was I don't think there's a better Mexican restaurant on the island. There might be some other restaurants that do Mexican dishes as well or better. But as far as an actual Mexican restaurant, if that's your thing, then you definitely are going to want to give Chihuahuas a try. Moderately priced, in the same price range as places like Barney's, Bavaria, places like that. So, I mean, my dish was, I think, $20. And I think each of theirs were just under that. I usually get the fish tacos, which is three fish tacos, and that's like $14 or something. So yeah, I mean it's a pretty inexpensive place to eat. The drinks might get you though, because like I said, it's $15 for a large margarita. So keep that in mind whenever you're figuring out if it's the place you want to go. So by the time we left there, I was feeling kind of tipsy, honestly. I wasn't allowed to dance at the South Beach bar or whatever. They weren't going to let me do that. There's something going on at the Hard Rock, too. That would have been cool. A different band than what they normally have there, but we didn't stop. Instead, we were craving ice cream, McDonald's ice cream. We both wanted, well, all 3 of us wanted McDonald's ice cream sundaes. I like the caramel or caramel stuff. Not really sure what it is, but it's absolutely delicious. So we ended up going over to there on our way home. And we picked up 3 sundaes because that was a decent way to cap off the evening. It was kind of early for us. We normally are up until 12 to 1, but we were back at the house before 11 o'clock, which is abnormal. Don't expect that to be happening all that often. But it was nice to get a good night's sleep because, the main reason why we come here is to relax and recharge and get ready for a busy holiday season. This is a good way to really recharge the batteries to finish out the year strong. And one of the key ingredients to being able to do that is to be well rested. And we don't sleep a whole lot at home. So whenever you come on vacation, you don't want to really just burn the candles at both ends here too. So being able to get that extra hour or two of sleep whenever you can is very important. That being said, tonight is the party at Legends, so I don't expect to be getting to sleep early tonight. Right now it's midday at Eagle Beach while I'm recording this, and in about an hour or so I'll be heading back to the rental in order to get showered up and changed to head on over there, where there will be a bunch of us just hanging out, celebrating, getting to know each other over at Legends Pub across the street from the Hyatt. If you aren't familiar with the place, what it is a sports bar that is a combination of the genius of the people behind Eduardo's and Scott's Brats. So they got together, had a baby, and it turned out to be an awesome sports bar in Palm Beach. If you've never been there, you're missing out. They have excellent burgers. I like the fried cheese curds. Great drinks. The atmosphere. It's an absolutely beautiful place. They have bands there a couple nights out of the week, and it's an ideal place to watch sports as well. They got a big screen TV that you can see from outside, and they got several other TVs on the inside. So if you're a sports fan, you're definitely going to want to get to know that place. And even if you're not a sports fan, but you're a fan of great service, good food, and good drinks, then make sure you check out Legends across the street from the Hyatt in the Palm Beach area. It's very convenient to get to. And we'll be there. Well, I guess by the time you hear this, we'll have been there yesterday. But this was the recap of day 2 of the trip. And I guess the first part of this day, which we spent at Palm Beach, or Eagle Beach. So in the meantime, if you want to keep up on what's going on this trip, make sure that you check out the episode 98s at One Happy Podcast, and the best way to do that is to go on over to onehappypodcast.com, which is the flagship for all things podcast related. You can also follow along at facebook.com/onehappypodcast, and check out my Instagram, which is One Happy Podcast on Instagram. At least I hope. If not, then it's Aruba Kurt. Don't know off the top of my head. It's like your phone number. You don't really know your own phone number because you never call yourself. It's one of those things. But make sure you head on over to facebook.com/onehappypodcast, because that makes it nice and easy to keep up on all things podcast related. But I'm going to enjoy my last hour here at Eagle Beach before heading over. And until next time, hit the music.